Hello again. I am Leah, also known as Lynn Faye, and with the homeschool UMA. It's me, my husband, and my three boys that I homeschool. And I wanted to put a video out because I got like a couple of others showing you guys like our classroom or our homeschool room or whatnot. Some lesson planning I think I got out. A bunch of stuff about my pre-K son's area and how we do pre-K for him. But I wanted to come on here and show you guys who I was and talk a little bit about who we are and why we homeschool. So, like I said, we're the homeschool UMA. And the reasons, there's actually several reasons why we homeschool. One being that I was having a hard time. This is not to bash public school teachers because there were some really great teachers at my kids' school. So I'm not like teacher shaming or whatever, people like to call it, but I was going to them, especially this more concerned my older son. I was going to them and I was like, hey, I noticed he had some problems with reading. He didn't want to read. He kind of stayed away from it. And I was also asking him about math because he was having so much trouble with math it wasn't even funny. I had already like years and years ago when he was like a toddler himself, he was probably 2 years old, had first heard of homeschooling and thought about it. And I was like, with the way I was working and things was going back then, it wasn't really something that I saw myself doing at the time. But the thought always stuck in my mind. Before I actually took him out of school, I was doing some more research, and that's when I really got into seeing a lot of you guys' videos and stuff like that. And it gave me some encouragement, actually. It gave me the want to go ahead and do this. And the final push was when I went to the school and tried to get this meeting with the teacher, and she finally agreed to meet with me. But when she did, she just pretty much like ignored me and was like basically sent me about my way. Like I said, this is not to bash her. This is not to bash public school systems. I actually went to public school myself and did okay. Did good, actually. So I don't have anything against public school. I do not have anything against public school at all. But the thing is, when you're a parent and you see that your kids aren't thriving, no matter where it is or what area it is your job to make sure that you intervene and take the appropriate steps so that your child can succeed. And that's what I did. I wasn't getting any answers. I went grades and grades. I said, well, maybe I'll give them a chance this year. Maybe, new teacher, new feelings, new everything, and that wasn't the case. They were pretty much passing my son because he wasn't a behavior problem, which was an issue with me because it's fine for him not to be a behavior problem. I really appreciate that, but I don't appreciate if academically he's not where he needs to be and he's just being passed on to another level because nobody really wanted to deal with it. And me being proactive as a parent and trying to get people to, communicate with me about what's going on with my child, even going to the open houses and everything like that, and nobody's addressing what's going on. I was just like, it's just time to take some steps. So I didn't want to leave my middle son, who's actually 8 years old. He'll be 9 in February. I didn't want to leave him in school by himself. I felt like he was just too young. And so and my work schedule was a lot different back then, so it just made more sense to take both of them out and homeschool the both of them versus just taking my older son out. And they eventually both ended up liking it, so I guess that was okay. But what else do I want to say? But that was the gist of me taking them out. We had some minor bullying issues, but nothing major. And my kids actually did pretty well handling themselves when it came to that area. that wasn't a real concern to me. But I do sympathize with the teachers on the sense that they have, multiple students they have to deal with. They do have behavioral issues, and that's where, like I said, myself as a parent saying, hey, if this environment isn't going to work for my kids, then I'm going to have to do what I have to do, and that's what I did. So that was like the major reason why I went ahead and took that last push, gave myself that last push and said, hey, you know what, you can do this. And I got a lot of encouragement, like I said, from you guys watching your videos, fun times, bad times and all. I was like, this is just what I have to do. So another reason, people may agree or disagree, we're all entitled to our opinion. But another reason why I felt like homeschooling would be right for us was for religious reasons. There's not a lot of education given to students, especially my children's peers, on Islam in particular. So I wanted to teach them and make sure that I was giving them the knowledge that they needed for, the particular religion that we follow. And raising your kids up in God, I don't see where, there can be any harm in that. I'm not saying that everybody should, to each his own. But for my kids, they need to get that knowledge from us at home, and they go to our religious institution, which is a masjid, and, get follow-up education and stuff like that. But religion was one of the reasons that I wanted to go. Our services are on Fridays, and I didn't want to have to keep taking my sons out of school and having them missing school and missing their educational days to be able to go to the mosque on Fridays. It's very important for males to be at the mosque on Fridays, and I want to instill that in them. Wherever it goes when they get older, God, I feel as though God gives us certain guidelines when we're raising our kids up, and I'm going to do the best that I can to follow those guidelines. And so getting them familiar with the religious institution, the masjid, was something that I felt that was very important for my boys, especially my older one. And he actually likes going, that's like one of his highlights of his day on Friday. So religion was one of the reasons. It wasn't our major reason, but it was just like another plus when I decided that, educationally, public school was not the thriving place for my older son, like I said. Another reason, which is probably like my last or third and final reason, is as far as time is concerned. Like I said, if things came up, doctor's appointments, if one of the kids gets sick, you don't have to worry about, you could get in trouble if they miss so many sick days, or if something's going on where me and Dad, we're working and something's going on and we have to leave work. So it just kind of makes sense. Even though I work mostly weekends now, it just really makes sense to just say, hey, while you're homeschooling, we can take those days off if we need to take them off. There's no punishments or, anything like that. There won't be any consequences, especially legal consequences for keeping your kids from school when these things happen, because you're only allotted a certain amount of days, and things happen. We had a lot of family stuff going on, and I promise you, we probably would have missed double that amount of allotted days with all that we had going on, especially with me having some health issues. So that's why I love homeschooling. It's very flexible for us. I think that was pretty much it for the reasons why we homeschool. And yeah, I think that was it. If you have any other questions or comments, like I say, stay tuned with this. I'm actually going to finally get into this curriculum video for you guys. But I want to introduce myself and put a face behind the channel so you guys can see who I am and what I'm about and why we decided to homeschool, why we're doing what we're doing. But like I said, my main reason is because educationally, academically, that was not the environment for him, and I didn't want to leave my other son in school by himself and him have problems. So just, everything pretty much made sense, and I feel like really God called me to doing this. So when he calls, I like to answer. So stay tuned, guys. Subscribe, like, leave your comments, leave your questions. I'll see you during the next video.